Plague Champion, Lord Commissar. I'd say the map's probably benefiting the Plague Champion. I don't like to deal with garrisons when I'm playing Imperial Guard. Obviously, if you put the Plague Champion or CSM into garrisons, they're going to be really hard to defeat. We've seen a fast Sentinel, which is interesting. I think that's fallen out of favour, especially with it going up in rec cost. We'll have to see. So what Bestnoob's probably trying to do then, he's probably trying to force the Warlock versus Force Commander, which makes a lot of sense. Out of all of his heroes playing against the Force Commander, would you want to be a Warlock, a Lictor, or a Plague Champion? I think you definitely want to be the Warlock. So that makes sense. I like Bestnoob's strategy here. That's pretty tricky for Darkhero. He really does want to win this. I don't think he'll want to have to rely on his Force Commander. And we're seeing double CSM, which is pretty conventional, but I think more recently at high levels we've been seeing a lot more melee-based plays against the Imperial Guard, though that might have been due to the prevalence of the triple guardsmen, which are obviously very good at trading with ranged units but vulnerable to melee spam. But we'll see how it does in this map. The garrisons assist the CSM quite a lot, so that could be part of the reasoning behind it. We're not seeing a triple guardsman from Darkhero, not yet at least. But has he got the gens? So he could be building gens if he wants them. Let's look at his economy. He might be saving up power for a heavy weapons team or a fast Catechins. No, he's got one generator. It would be quite a shock to see the triple guardsmen now that they've got their upkeep and pop nerfs. See the Plague Champion coming over to assist the CSM. First I thought that was the Lord Commissar. Well, the Lord Commissar actually has snuck in and got the decap on the power because he went for the double CSM, meaning he had no requisition to get the power node early on. And the Lord Commissar has managed to get the cap, and he's going for a fast Catechin Devil. Oh god, the fucking song request is on, I didn't realise that. Con, you're gonna have to help me there with the modding of that. Didn't really want the song request on for this, but whatever. It's all good. So have we got any sergeants yet? He's not even got a single sergeant. Really seeing the economic impact of these Imperial Guard changes even now. Of course, the real impact of it is going to be felt later on in the game when you get into Tier 2 and the increased upkeep on the sergeants is really going to start hurting that Imperial Guard economy. And a lot of requisition has been dumped into these generators that are going down straight away. Triple VP cap for Bestnoob, and a lot of VP pressure. But, well, he was behind on the power, but now he's bashed all of Dark's power, so I don't think he's in a very good position at all again. This looks pretty bad for Dark, I'm not going to lie. Oh, Sentinel went down. Eternal War on the CSM adding even more DPS. Yeah, this is really, really tough for Darkhero. He's dumped 30 power into the power sword. But it's just such a high... Oh, he's going to die. Okay, he should be alright. Actually, he might not. He's only got 80 HP. With the Eternal War and the damage over time, he could maybe have died. Doesn't manage to get the wipe on the Aspiring Champion Heretics. Obviously, Guardsmen alone can't do anything against all these Marines. No Sergeant yet either. What's going on over here? Oh, no. Lost the Guardsmen to default Heretics. This is over. This is over. It's going to Game 5. It's going to Game 5, boys. We got a Game 5. Catechins are just going to make it out. Commissar's getting in there. Putting that 30 power investment to some use. Probably not worth it though. I think he needed the Commissar to be here in these big fights with the Sentinel to actually force off the Marines and not lose the generators. But now he's lost the Commissar as well. This is doomed. This is doomed. Misses the old reliable. Desperation plays, the VPs are ticking down completely. Barely any map control, totally inferior army, and no power. It's about as dire as it can get, really. So it's going to be the Lictor Alpha or the Warlock against Darkhero's main, the Force Commander. So yes, one would like to think that Bestnoob has planned for this and he's going to pick the Warlock. If Darkhero did save his veto though, he can veto the Warlock, in which case he can force the Lictor Alpha versus Force Commander matchup, which I think is pretty even. I believe the bans in the League Series only last for one round, not the entire series. Because you only have 5 heroes anyway, and, you know, in a best of 5, you'd be screwed otherwise. Okay, so Dark hasn't used his veto. This is where the lobby metagaming can actually really affect these matchups. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it before the game even starts. Oh, okay, Wingblade, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Because Bestnoob didn't want to fight his FC, because he has to win this game or he's lost. But, as we can see, he is certainly winning the game. And we will likely see a Lictor Alpha versus Force Commander matchup. And the really cool thing about that, it's a pretty even matchup, I'd say. So we should, hopefully, get a really nice Game 5. Do you see the Aura of Discipline? It's nice to see that, you don't see it too often, but... yeah, it feels a little bit futile. I like what Darkhero's doing. He really wants to do as much mental damage as he can to Bestnoob, and just playing it out when it's so hopeless is good against a player like Bestnoob, who can sometimes struggle with his own patience. Darkhero just needs to have the mental fortitude to not get shaken by this. Because, you know, if you weren't an experienced player, being put in this position where you're getting absolutely stomped into the ground, and you know that over $100 is on the line, and it comes down to one single game, that could really fuck with your head. And he's just throwing away a unit every single engagement. But there you go. Kadashan Devils don't even get to kill the Aspiring Champion Heretics. What a shame. And that will be the end of that game. That's a lot of pizzas. Not too many if you live in Ireland and you buy Domino's. Then it's only about 2 pieces. Either way, it's good shit. It's what we like to see. I'll let you host the lobby, Adilla. Oh, it's definitely not just the money. I mean, you're beating Bestnoob. You're beating Bestnoob on stream in front of everyone. There's a lot of glory involved in that. You will be remembered for many, many, many months to come. Until Elite League Season 6. In which case you'll have to do it all again. But you'll be ready, because you will have eaten 2 lovely Domino pizzas since. You'll be very prepared. Still 100 kilograms on stream, with all the eating out that you've been doing. Chains of Torment. What's wrong with how I say Chains of Torment? Also, why were you pointing out how I say falcon? That's the correct British pronunciation of the word. It's not falcon. It's not falcon. What's that? That's Americanisms. It's a falcon. Have you watched Star Wars? It's the Millennial Falcon. if you like to utilise those sharp-taloned birds to catch rabbits and similar small game, you are engaging in falconry. Not falconry. Oh, I do a bit of falconry. No one says that. You're a falconer. Who was that gym leader in Johto? It was Falconer. It wasn't Falconer. That'd be fucking stupid, wouldn't it? I don't know what steeping is either. What is steeping? And I'm probably pronouncing that incorrect as well. Is this like one of these strange folk games that are meant to happen in British villages somewhere that actually 99% of British people have no idea about? Like cheese rolling is apparently a thing, but no one really does that. That's like 30 people in a village somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Oh god. Not that place, it's a horrible place. Only the Queen herself can pronounce that one. It's a train station, isn't it? Or it might just be a village, I don't know. Somewhere in Wales. Welsh is a very broken language. We don't talk about Welsh too much. Yeah, we just like to pretend really that Wales is just a county in England. It's not really got its own culture or history. It's just a little forgotten bit of England. Alright, what's going on here in the game chat? Oh, not a whole lot. Darkhero's just arrived. We've got Jurillo so far. Ah, we're going to Sewol. Sewol Frontier. Was it King Arthur who was meant to get the Grail? I can't really remember any of that nonsense. If that's the case, then I'll say when he gets the Grail. If not, fuck, I don't know. Oh, it was his knights that get the Grail. Oh dear. Well, that sounds about right, doesn't it? The king never likes to do things himself. Likes to get his boys to do it. And I'm sure he only wanted the Grail for one reason. Possession of the Grail guaranteed him infinite access to a very, very lovely maiden. So we got the Victor Alpha versus Force Commander. Sweet. This is what we wanted. This is Game 5. The winner of this is the victor of Elite League Season 5. We're seeing the triple Hormigaunt build in spite of its nerfs, proving popular nonetheless. I think this is a pretty decent matchup. What do you guys think? Is this matchup alright? Obviously the Lictor Alpha can put on shitloads of pressure. The fact that the Force Commander can use Battlecry to counter Flesh Hook, that's a big deal. Makes the Force Commander have a lot better of a position compared to things like the Apothecary and the Tech Marine. But if the Space Marines can get past Tier 1, they can get to tier 2, solidify themselves, get a few leaders, get a few levels. I think they're going to be pretty good. So it's all going to come down to this tier 1.
Adding support structure.
As it always does, of course, but even more so in this matchup. So we do see Scout model instantly taken here. Be aware that this garrison can be used by the Tactical Marines, but it's really low on HP. So you could just wipe it. Lictor Alpha's got no energy left already.
Support structure complete.
We claim this in the Emperor's name.
The enemy
Oh really,
defending
Shroom?
support
So
structure.
by default, Tax can just shoot and melee down the Homogons with ease now. There's not really any chance of the Homogons. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? The Homogons are actually all simultaneously attacking. How rare is that? I've never seen that before.
The Codex
Always something new in Dawn of War 2.
guides us to victory.
So we're not seeing any additional scouts yet. Is he going for double tax? That would be a new one. I think it could definitely work. Just have to be really careful of the Lictor Alpha. Him getting in and tying up attacks just makes them completely useless. But when he gets to tier 2 and he can get double plasma guns, that's going to be really strong. So obviously the Homogons can't do anything against the Force Commander. They're just going to try and run away from him. Force Commander's only speed 5, Homogons is 6.5. If they're macroed properly, the Force Commander shouldn't catch up. Seeing a damn lot of requisition from Bestnoob. He's not actually dropping generators, which is probably an oversight, because as you can see, he's now floating quite a lot of requisition. But his priority right now is getting this T-cap on the power node. A timely grenade could at least delay it, but what he might be trying to do is bleed a few more models and get the wipe in retreat with the grenade. But Bestnoob is privy to that, so he doesn't just instantly retreat. He soft retreats south to then escape. So he doesn't risk that grenade. The Homogons even managed to get the decap here in spite of the Force Commander being there, which is unfortunate because he's just putting on even more VP pressure. Was this the build that Darkhero used against Piano? 2 tax, 2 scouts, fully upgrade the scouts, get Sacred Standard in tier 2. It's a mirror, isn't it? It's the same thing. Piano went for double Raveners and triple Homogons, I believe. Though he was the Ravener Alpha, not the Lictor Alpha, but I don't really think that changes too much. For the Emperor is on the Tactical Marines, increasing their damage. This Tactical Marine's a hero. Refuses to die. So many Raveners wasting shots at him, but he is not dying, even after being flesh hooked. He still doesn't die after a special attack from the Lictor. Surely he's screwed now. Oh, he just got turned into giblets. So did a whole lot of Homogons. What's that, 5 of the cunts? Force Commander really should be tying up the Tactical Marines. He's not really achieving much, running after Homogons while slowed down by Stalk. You can see the Stalk's active due to the red circle underneath him, indicating that he's got some sort of debuff. These Homogons were very sneaky, took this route down to here, bashing the power node once again. But Darkhero isn't too bothered. I mean, I guess it's helpful. What's he got for upgrades? He's got 1 shotgun on the way. Yeah, he really wants to fully upgrade these 2 scouts, so I guess it is kind of important to hold this power. To that extent, the Tactical Marines are coming out of base with only 2 models to try and defend it. Bestnoob has to be pretty careful here. If he gets a bad retreat path, it could potentially lead to a wipe. They look like they'll be fine. Oh, so many lost models though. Another 5 models down there. Darkhero is trying to solidify and get a lot of the map. As we know, this is going to be really hard for the Space Marines in tier 1. But if he can just hold out, not lose too much power, certainly not losing any squads. If he loses squads in a bad spot, when he gets into tier 2, he's going to be really good. Because Raveners don't get any stronger in tier 2. Not without a Venom Brood nearby. But if there's a Venom Brood nearby... Oh! Double Ravener model kills simultaneously. I suppose For the Emperor was partially to blame for that. It's pretty nice.
One of our
Force Commander's
generators
coming back in, can tie up the Raveners. What's going on with the rest of the map? We're seeing a little bit of blob capping down here. Could do with just retreating those Hormagaunts if you're not just going to use them to cap. So if the Raveners are in tier 2 and they're getting buffed by the ranged Synapse, which is the only way that you can buff them other than going full melee, which then leaves you vulnerable to the Force Commander, the Venom Brood will just get killed in seconds by double plasma guns. So this is why the 2 tacks can actually be quite useful against Tyranids. The downside, of course, is that you delay your power for quite a long time, so you leave yourself super vulnerable in the early game, because it takes a lot longer to get your units out, to get any sort of field presence, and to get any upgrades. So it's a gamble. But if he keeps bleeding Ravener models, he's going to be in a decent little spot. Ooh, needs to be really careful with the Force Commander. He could potentially die here. Stalk is available. He doesn't use it. If he used Stalk, that could have been enough to kill him. Goes for a grenade spike, but the Hormagaunts retreat just in time.
adding support structure.
What's going on up here? Scouts with only shotguns are going to shotgun blast the Hormagaunts and run into the garrison. Need to be careful. Raveners do substantial range damage, and of course they can just move so far away from the scouts that they won't be able to breach them with shotguns. Raveners probably don't want to be this close though. That's not too important. Darkhero's ability to protect his gen farm is far more important at the moment. We're seeing very liberal use of For the Emperor here, which I really like. Look how much damage the Raveners are taking from attacks in melee thanks to the For the Emperor. And with the battle cry, there's going to be more bled Raveners. Gets another Ravener model. Let's check how much they cost to reinforce, because they're the reason why Bestnoob's economy is how it is at the moment. He's had a full farm for a very long period of time, yet in spite of that he's far lower in requisition than he is power, and it's due to all these Ravener models that he's bled. If he bled none, they cost 66 requisition each. If he bled absolutely no Ravener models, he'd already be going tier 2. Oh, the scouts did end up dying. Yeah, well. They were in a pretty bad position, weren't they? He chose to keep them in the garrison.
We have 300 points remaining.
They were eventually going to be forced out by the Raveners, because they can't shoot the Raveners, because Raveners have longer range, and then they're just going to get killed in melee by all the Hormagaunts. So it was kind of inevitable, but he has protected his farm, so he's not in the worst spot. Oh, but he's bleeding so much now. He's going to lose 2 Tactical Marine models. Oh, he might lose the Scout Squad. Really ballsy play here. The Tactical Marines should be focus firing the Raveners, because they're the only thing that can threaten the Scouts at the moment. Drop pod coming in. A Flesh Hook could eventually come out from the Lictor, but it's going to be on cooldown because he used it over here. More Tactical Marines come out. So he's now running triple tax. This looks really bad for Darkhero. Oh, he loses those tacks as well. I mean, Darkhero's never out of it, but he's not in a good position right now. Absolutely wreck-starved. And Bestnoob has finally managed to get to tier 2. Needed really to play a little bit more defensively. I don't think the scouts needed to go in the garrison here. He already had captured the entire map, could have easily retreated off. And these fights just seem a little bit too desperate. You've got to play so conservatively against this Tyranid early game, because you know you've got the disadvantage. You just need to survive until tier 2. Note the Raveners intentionally burrowing behind the Tactical Marines to not come forward so that the Hormagaunts don't have to travel as far. There was an attempt to counter that with a grenade from the scouts, but it was a little bit too late, so the Raveners had already got out of the way of it. Also note that the Tactical Marines seen that the Victor Alpha was going for a Flesh Hook and retreated just before they could use them. The dream doesn't look good, does it? Doesn't look good. We're at 2-2 right now. This is the final game to determine the winner of Elite League Season 5.
Research underway.
I think it's not the best performance from Darkhero. He played games 2 and 3 really decently, but his first game was not great, and this is not the best standard. Hey, at the end of the day, Bestnoob getting the money, it isn't all bad, because that guarantees that he's going to keep playing. So we keep that top level player for a few more years at least. Well, maybe not a few years, but keep him for a little longer. Scouts go down there to a combination of that Toxin Miasma of the Lictor and the sheer amount of ranged DPS. And indeed, that is GG. Bestnoob is going to be the winner of Elite League Season 5. Who would have guessed it, eh? So, how much money have you guys won on your bets from that one?
The enemy has won this day. Great is our shame.